6 weeks after my mom passed, I caught myself laughing, like really laughing at something ridiculous my husband did. Then the guilt hit. It hit me like a punch to the gut. How dare I feel joy when she's gone? How could I laugh when she never will again? Today we're talking about the complicated dance between grief and joy, and why feeling happiness isn't betraying your loss. It's actually honoring your humanity. And if you've been holding your breath, afraid to feel anything good, this episode is your permission to exhale. Welcome to Haven Hub, the space for women who are tired of feeling stuck between what feels like a rock and a hard place. I'm Lolly, a life coach and your guide and fellow traveler for strong, high-functioning women navigating life's hardest chapters with dignity and honesty. And each week, we name the quiet struggles, unpack the emotional weight, and explore the shifts that move you towards clarity and what you actually want. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need a new way through. So today's way through might be the hardest one yet. It's allowing yourself to feel joy without guilt, to laugh without apology, to create, to love, and live fully while still carrying your grief. Because here's what I learned the hard way. Grief and joy aren't opposites. They're roommates in the house of your heart, and they need to learn to coexist. I remember the first time I felt genuinely excited after my mom passed. It was about a work project, something creative I was building. Immediately, I felt myself shutting down. Like, how could I be excited about anything when my mom would never get to hear about it, would never get to see it? But the thing is, denying this joy that I had didn't bring her back. All it did was just make me feel like I was disappearing too. So let's talk more about the guilt of feeling good. Let's name the monster in the room. It's called survivor's guilt in grief. And a lot of the time it shows up as something like, how can I enjoy this meal when she'll never taste it again? Or how dare I plan a future she won't be a part of? Or what kind of daughter laughs when her mom is dead? I mean, if I'm happy doesn't mean that I'm over it. Am I over her? Have I forgotten her? This guilt is a liar, but it's definitely a convincing one. And it tells you that your joy diminishes your loss, that happiness means you're moving on, that feeling good is forgetting the person, forgetting the love you had for them. And here's what actually happened when I started policing my joy. I started feeling like I was living out of my body. I feel like I was having an out-of-body experience in my own life. I was so committed to proving my grief through suffering that I forgot that my mom never wanted me to suffer. She wanted me to live my life. So think about it. Would any of your loved ones want you to never smile again, or never create something again, or never feel lightness again? Like, when we deny ourselves joy, we're not honoring them. We're actually just punishing ourselves for surviving. And the first time I let myself enjoy something fully, it was when I was playing Monopoly Deal with my husband. And he said something which was really funny. And then I responded with the only response for what he said, which is something my mom would always say or do in that situation. And all of a sudden I paused and it just had me breaking down. And I wasn't really breaking down from the sadness, but actually more from like the nostalgia of it all. And because in that moment of joy, I felt her presence very clearly. And it was more clear than I had in some of the weeks that had just gone by, where I was really suffering. And the joy didn't necessarily distance me from her. It made me feel closer to her somehow, because I was now finally able to think of her fondly a little bit. And the truth that nobody's really talking about is that your joy is actually not a betrayal. Your happiness is not you forgetting. Your laughter is not disrespect. You can hold debilitating grief in one hand and beautiful joy in the other. Both can be true. Both can be sacred. Now, when words fail you, when the grief feels too big for your body, I find that creativity becomes its own language. It's a soft place to land when everything else feels really sharp. And after my mom passed, I couldn't really talk about her without feeling like I was going to burst into tears, as I am feeling a little bit now. But what I could do was be productive. What I could do was write. And I could work with the same resilience that she always did. Maybe not as much as her, but I could feel the spirit of the resilience that she had, and I could push. I could work on, the photo album that she was putting together for my dad's birthday. I could journal my chats with her. All these little productive acts weren't about producing something noteworthy. They were about producing something that I could look at and see that I was doing something. So creating while grieving can look different for everyone. It's messy, it's not perfect. You're not trying to write something amazing. You're trying to just move energy through your body so it's not stuck and your heart doesn't just feel so heavy. The healing is in the actual doing of the thing, not in what you create. So you can borrow their creativity, finish that project, continue their crafts, learning some of the skills that they had. It's a way of remembering them, So every Monday I'll work on a project she would have loved to get her teeth into, or something that we would be able to talk about. These aren't supposed to be sad activities. They're connection activities. And I find that the creativity helps. It gives your grief some kind of container, not locking it away now, but something to kind of help you hold that grief. It engages a different part of your brain than just verbally processing it. It creates something new in this world that feels like it's only holding loss for you everywhere you turn. And it proves that you can still make something beautiful, something different. You can still create even when you feel broken. If you're craving a creative outlet but don't know where to start, I've created the Grief Journal prompts. So it's 30 simple creative prompts designed for those who are grieving who need some kind of creative outlet. Things like begin a story with, if you were here right now, you'd laugh at. If my mom was here right now, what would she laugh at? That kind of thing. Dedicate some kind of joy to them. So this laugh was for you. This is what happened. And record it in your journal. So it's not something that requires any skills. There's no perfection expected. Just a gentle way to let your hands help your heart in releasing that grief. So you can download it free. It's at havenhub.life/freebies, and the link will be in the show notes as well. So I want you to work on this process of grief in your life. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about learning to let joy and grief share the same space without apology. They're going to coexist, whether you allow it or not. So the question is whether you'll let it happen with grace or with guilt. What it actually looks like is, for example, crying at your child's birthday party. Tears of joy and tears of sorrow that grandma isn't here anymore, or dating again and feeling excited and a little bit guilty, right? Achieving something amazing and feeling proud and heartbroken that they can't celebrate it with you. Belly laughing with friends and having grief wash over you mid-laugh. All these things can happen, right? Planning future dreams and mourning the ones that died with them as well. I call these the both and moments. When contradicting emotions exist simultaneously, your brain might resist this whole process. And we're taught that emotions are either or, happy or sad, moving forward or stuck. The thing is that grief teaches us that human hearts are big enough for there to live a paradox. I want you to work on practices for allowing the joy alongside the grief. Write yourself a letter from your loved one, giving you explicit permission to feel joy. Whatever they would normally say, mine would say something like, I was going to get into what mine would say, but it will get me a little bit too emotional on this video, and I don't think I'm ready to do that today. I'm already just about holding myself together. So you write what you think your loved one would say in that letter. You can also do the joy dedication that we talked about earlier on. So when you feel joy, you dedicate it to them, that this sunset is for you, Mom, or this delicious meal is something that I know you would have enjoyed. It's in your honor. This belly laugh is because you taught me to find humor in insert the thing, right? So the joy becomes some kind of connection back to your loved one. You can also do a 60-second celebration. So when you catch yourself feeling good, give yourself 60 seconds to fully feel it without guilt. Set a timer if you need to, just for 1 minute, just to let the good feeling exist. Then thank yourself for allowing it. Because what you find is that you start feeling good and then you feel guilt for feeling good, and then it turns to crap, basically. So try and hold it for 60 seconds at a time if you can. Then you can also do a grief or joy journal. So each day you can write one grief truth and one joy truth. You know, today I missed you when I saw your favorite book. Today I felt joy when I was working on my project and I could hear your voice saying, you're doing well. You know, both are real, both matter. I remember the first time I had a really good day, like a genuinely good day recently. And the good day was from a morning to a night. And it made me absolutely panic because I felt like I was forgetting her. I felt like I was moving on. And then I realized she had good days after her parents died. She found joy again after loss. She showed me it was possible. So my joy wasn't leaving her behind. It was following her example. So if you're ready to stop choosing between grief and joy, to finally allow your full complex experiences, I want you to join us for the Haven Hub Grief Growth Workshop. It's a journey where we practice holding multiple truths, releasing guilt around happiness, and finding sustainable ways to honor our grief while embracing life. You'll get integration practices and a community of people who understand that healing doesn't mean forgetting and joy doesn't mean betrayal. So join us at havenhub.life/workshop and you'll find the link in the show notes. Because you deserve to feel everything, the sorrow and the sweetness, the missing and the magic, the grief and the gratitude, all of it, all of you. Thank you for listening today. If this stirred something in you, send it to someone who'd get it too. You never know who's holding the same thing quietly. I'm Lolly, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep choosing yourself. Bye.